So here's the return of rebranded NFL logos. Remember, these logos are artist created. I did not create them. I'm just simply critiquing them. And just keep in mind that some of these logos are integrated with like the word mark designs, but I'm only really going to be talking about the logos and not really the word marks or the backgrounds of this art. I think some of these are really cool, so let's take a look. Starting out here with the Arizona Cardinals, I really like the intensity of this logo. Overall, it's very intense. The eye is a little bit small and white, and it makes it look very mean, and same with the beak. And overall, the detail in the whole entire head of the Cardinal is just very cool, and in my opinion, a lot better than the normal Arizona Cardinals logo. That one looks, to me, a little bit too nice for a football team, and the intensity of this one just really makes it look cool, and I'm a big fan of this logo. For the Atlanta Falcons, this logo maintains the F shape that the normal Atlanta Falcons logo has, but it also adds a little bit more detail, and it's not as angular as the normal logo. I do really like how the eye and the head has a lot more detail, and you can definitely tell it's a falcon instead of a few shapes in the black. And it also maintains the colors, so I actually prefer this logo as well compared to the normal Atlanta Falcons logo. For the Baltimore Ravens logo, I think this logo is a little bit too dark. I do really like the red eye, it's very interesting, but I think if the purple and the black in this logo were inverted, it would be much better. And although I do think the intensity of this logo and many of these logos that the artist drew are really cool, but this one I think is just too dark and could be improved. And overall, I think I like the normal Baltimore Ravens logo better. For the Buffalo Bills, I think this logo is a little bit too detailed with the buffalo in the background, and I don't really like the football player in the foreground. It doesn't make sense to have two logos in one. It doesn't make too much sense to me, but I do like the colors, and some of the detail is good, but I think it's over detailed. If it was just the buffalo with less detail, I think this logo would be much better, but I still prefer the current Buffalo Bills logo. For the Carolina Panthers logo, I think this is what the Panthers were trying to go to originally, but in my opinion, I don't really like how the face looks. Something about the mouth just looks a little bit awkward for me, but overall this logo is pretty cool. It does look a lot more like a panther instead of the actual logo that they have, but still just something looks off to me. But some of you guys might like this logo and prefer it more. For the Chicago Bears, I think this logo is okay, but I think the neck is a little bit too fat. It's interesting to see how the artist tried to implement like a C in the mouth. That's what I'm guessing he tried to do. I don't think it really works out for this logo, and I think the fur kind of interferes with what the artist was trying to do, but it's a decent idea, and I think it's a little bit more detailed than the actual logo, but still not great. For the Cincinnati Bengals, this logo is a lot more detailed than the normal just B plain logo, and it's actually a C for Cincinnati with a tiger head in the front. I think it's pretty cool, except there's just too many stripes in my opinion, and it kind of looks awkward in the front where the tiger's nose is. It kind of looks like it's like overlapping in some weird way, so not a big fan of that, but it's a cool idea. For the Cleveland Browns, this logo is a great idea. Instead of their normal plain helmet logo, it's just orange. This one has the brown, the orange, the white. It looks intense. It's really cool. I think this is a perfect logo for the Cleveland Browns. I think they should just redesign completely to this logo. I don't know. What do you guys think? For the Dallas Cowboys, this is a little bit different than their normal star logo, and I think the face is just too detailed. I like the idea though. I like the premise. I think if they implemented like a Cowboys hat into their star logo, it would be really cool, but I think this one is just a little bit overdone and doesn't really make sense for the brand, and you know, those Cowboys fans probably wouldn't like it. For the Denver Broncos, this logo is actually very cool. It's like a molding of a bronco, of a horse, and like a mountain, like a rocky mountain in Denver. It's a cool idea, cool concept. I don't think the execution is that good, but I see what they're trying to do, and the idea is really cool. As a logo itself, I don't think it really works, but as NFL art, very cool concept. For the Detroit Lions, this logo is just a little bit too thick. The lion mane is just too thick for me, and I think it would look cooler with a smaller lion's mane, but overall the idea is very similar to the actual logo that they have. It's a little bit more 3D and a little bit more detailed, but overall, I think their normal logo, their current one, is the better logo. For the Green Bay Packers, this logo looks like the state of Milwaukee with a star at Green Bay, and then G and B in a weird type of font in the center of it. I don't think this really works as a Green Bay Packers logo. I think if they integrate something like cheese, it would work better, but this one, not one of my favorite logos. For the Houston Texans, this logo is very cool. It uses the red and the blue of the Texans, and the white integrates it well. I love the ring in the nose of the bull. I just think this logo is probably one of the best here. I do think it's a little bit too detailed for an actual football logo, but it's a cool concept, and I think if it was less detailed, it would work really well in the NFL. For the Indianapolis Colts, this one is just a simple horseshoe, a little bit more detailed than their actual logo. I think this is actually quite a good improvement. It adds a little bit more flair, and I like how it's sideways for the C in Colts. So I think this is a cool idea. It's a little bit different, just a little modification of their actual logo, and I think it works pretty well. For the Jacksonville Jaguars, I personally think that the concept behind this logo is very cool. The Jaguar looks really angry, very intense, very mean, but I think just too many spots. I think if they cut down on the spots of the Jaguar, it would look much better. I do love the green tongue and the green eye. It's a very great accent color in my opinion. I love this color for the Jacksonville Jaguars. For the Kansas City Chiefs, I think this logo is just a little bit too plain for them. Their normal arrowhead logo is just very cool. It's very clean. This one's too simple. There's no white really. I would love a white in this part, and I know that there's an arrow going through a C, making it look like a bow and arrow. I just don't think it really works, and I don't think it looks that good. The K kind of seems out of place as well, so not a big fan of this logo. Now for the Las Vegas Raiders, I'm going to pretend that these logos weren't designed in 2013. This logo is basically an updated shield with a cool skull, very intense biker looking skull, and a helmet. It's just an updated, more detailed version of the normal Raiders logo. I think it would be cool as an artwork type thing again, but not as their actual logo. I think it's just too much detail, and you wouldn't see the intricate parts of this logo in smaller spots where the logo is used. For the Los Angeles Chargers, once again, we're going to pretend that these logos were not made in 2013. This logo is pretty decent. It has the horse making a C type logo, but I just wish there was more yellow implemented into it, maybe less of the dark blue, more of the yellow and then light blue. Obviously people love the powder blue colors, so I think that's what this logo should be as well. But overall, cool idea, but I don't think the implementation was that good. For the Los Angeles Rams, they obviously got a new logo very recently, but this one is pretty cool. It kind of implements the logo into the word mark, which we're not going to really talk about. But the logo itself, I wish that they used the brighter yellow instead of this gold color, and the ram looks really mean, but I think it looks too fat, and there's something that's just missing here. I can't really tell, but I think it's just overdone a little bit, and not one of my favorite logos in this video. For the Miami Dolphins, this logo is very cool. I love the dolphin shape in general, and I really like the lighter blue teal color that's accented along the dolphin. The sun looks pretty normal to me compared to the current logo, and I just think this one in general is so much better than their current logo and just is really appealing to look at, in my opinion. For the Minnesota Vikings, I think this logo is just way too detailed. Like, they gotta cut down on the detail. Like, the whole entire Viking costume has little intricate parts. I think if there was just the head in this logo, I think it would just look much better. And I do like the colors. The beard is yellow, the rest is purple, but just way too detailed for my taste, and I think it's just too overdone. For the New England Patriots, once again, I just don't like these full body human type of logos. I do like the flag implementation in this logo though. I think that the Patriots should implement the US flag or like the 13 colony flag. I think that would look really cool, but once again, this Patriot is just too much detail on him. You can't really tell what's going on if this logo is way smaller, but as an artwork, it looks pretty cool. For the New Orleans Saints, there isn't really much that was changed. They added a little bit more detail on the fleur-de-lis with the white accents in the middle and some more dark gold around the sides, kind of adding light to it. I'm not really sure what this black thing at the bottom is. If anyone knows, write down in the comments. But in general, this logo isn't really much changed from what the actual Saints logo is, so I'm kind of indifferent on it. Let me know what you guys think. For the New York Giants, this is kind of stolen from all baseball logos where they have the initials of the city and the team kind of stacked on top of each other. I don't think this idea is just really that original, and I don't think this is really used well, especially for the New York Giants. I think there's just too much going on, and I know you can make out the NY and the G, but it just doesn't really look that good. For the New York Jets, I think this logo is really cool. Just the J as a jet fighter itself would look really cool, and without the ETS, it would look great as well. And as an logo, I think it's just implemented really well. So I would like it maybe with brighter green color, but overall this logo looks pretty cool, and I think it's a good idea for the Jets to actually implement. For the Philadelphia Eagles, I think this logo looks a lot more like an actual bald eagle head. However, as a logo, I don't think it looks as good as what they have now. I just don't like how fat the bottom of the neck is, and it doesn't really look like a good logo style. Some people might like it better, and it does resemble a bald eagle head more than the current logo. So, you know. For the Pittsburgh Steelers, this implements the normal 3 stars that the Steelers logo has. I'm not really sure what the 3 black bars are supposed to represent, and it's kind of just too bland for me. You can't really tell what's going on. I think if they just blew up the 3 stars and made that the center of attention without these black lines, I think it would look much better. Personally, not a big fan of this logo. For the San Francisco 49ers, I think this logo is just too much, too busy, too many pickaxes, too small. The words at the bottom is just kind of seems unnecessary. You don't really need to know what year the 49ers started. The other logos don't feature what year those teams started, so it doesn't make sense for this. The SF is also unnecessary. I just think this logo is too busy and a lot of unnecessary parts. If just it was a normal pickaxe with like 49ers, I think that would look much better, and overall, don't really like this logo. For the Seattle Seahawks, I think this logo resembles an osprey more than their actual logo, which is what the Seahawks are, but I just don't think it looks good as an actual NFL logo. It does resemble an osprey better, but the logo that they have now is better personally, and I wish that they implemented that lime green more into this logo. For the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, this logo is featuring a skull with a pirate hat and 2 swords. This logo would be a lot better if the skull wasn't like happy, it wasn't smiling. Kind of looks crazy, but I just don't think the teeth really add to it, and I do wish that instead of a profile logo, it was more front facing and you could see the face, the full face of the skull, and the complete aspect of both swords. I think that would look a little bit better, and I'm not really a big fan of this red color. I think a brighter red and a little bit less black would do this logo justice. For the Tennessee Titans, this logo is a very godly Titan figure, very cool looking with the sword down the middle. I'm actually kind of a big fan of this, and I really like this like cape style in the background. I wish there was more of like blues integrated. I think it's just too dark for the main part being all this dark blue, and I wish that the light blue and maybe more white were implemented in this logo, but it's a cool concept. Maybe just a sword and a helmet would be my preference for a logo like this, but cool idea, and it looks really cool as like NFL art itself. Finally, for the Washington Redskins, this logo is of a Native American warrior. I think it looks really cool with the 2 feathers at the back. I'm not really sure what this like swirl at the front is. It attaches to like his hair and then has like these white stripes. I'm not really sure what that is. If you guys know what it is, write down in the comments. I don't think it really adds to it. I think if they remove that part, this logo would look a lot better, and I don't like how it swoops up towards the front here. But overall, this is the Washington Redskins logo. I actually kind of like it, and I think it can be a decent logo with a few tweaks.